This is Chantel. Viera Vida.
Ooh, haven't had the good song in a bit, but welcome back to the Viera Vida show. Today is the 18th of April, 2020, aka the 18th of March, 2020, because we completely lost a month in the black hole that is COVID. But we're excited to be here. We're here remote again as we are practicing social distancing. We are quarantined. Oh my gosh, I got such a mess in the back of all these boxes from masks that I'm making. So
You being busy and productive.
ignore that. How are you? Shan underscore?
Pretty good. You know what I'm finding? The hardest time I'm having right now, which is so weird because you're home, I am having a hard time sleeping at night.
What?
And I'm tired during the day. Like there's times when I find myself, like last night, I took a quick nap on the couch with the baby. When she woke me up. But at night, I have the hardest time. Everybody's asleep and I'm just tossing and turning and I don't know what it is.
Your
And I'm
schedule is
tired. You can hear
distorted.
my voice. It's like raspy and
Yeah.
effort to talk. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's too much false light. Maybe I need to get outside more, but who knows?
You got to get some of those daylight bulbs. Mama O used to do that for us whenever we were working in the basement, and they actually help.
Daylight bulb. I'm looking into that. Thank you. How are
Yeah.
you doing?
I'm doing good. You can probably hear cats crying in the back because apparently we're a foster home for cats. And I don't have any trouble sleeping. So there's that ever.
Yeah.
I do think though, with your schedule having been changed, it does make sense
Yeah.
that you're having trouble sleeping. Taking it one day at a time. You look great.
Thank you.
Yes, I cut my bangs this morning.
Oh, did you?
I had them a little bit the other day cut, and then I was like, COVID, I see you.
Oh, you really got this swoop thingy going. From the first time we attempted to cut, years since we did that. Almost.
Almost. It doesn't feel like a year
No, it's crazy.
yet.
Those things.
So that actually is a good segue for what we're going to be talking about today, which is basically how we've been coping, what we've been doing in terms of COVID, give some tips, some entertainment ideas and such. But before that, don't think that I forgot that we do our roses. So our roses are the shout out of the week where we highlight somebody who's been doing something amazing and we give them their props. So Chantel, do you want to get us started by handing out your roses?
So, you know who I want to give my roses to? One, I think this has been a change for everybody, regardless of your status, who you are. Everybody's having to cope, right? Well, I shouldn't say regardless of your status. Because, side note, I don't know how rich people are so bored right now with big houses and stuff. But anyway,
I know. I don't want to hear it.
yeah. So, but to the moms and dads who are still holding jobs, having to work, and also taking care of their children, shout out to y'all, especially if you might only have that one laptop in your house that you're having to use to work, but then they're also having to review their virtual classes. Shout out to y'all. That's who I'm giving my roses to. Yeah, I think it's the only way that I'm getting through it is trying to figure out a schedule. But then some mornings I wake up, that schedule is out the window, girl.
Wow, yeah.
Shout out and roses to those people.
That's a really good shout out. I think about the parents all the time because I'm like, how are you doing this? Like, I'm barely managing just with a couple cats,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of work. And for example, today we have a book club meeting. A few of our friends put together, and we started. And the book is due today. I haven't even been able to open the book, and I don't have any kids. Um, but some people, like the person leading it today is Christina, and she has 3 children. I don't know how she does it. I Yeah, this is her book that she's leading, and she did it, and somehow I couldn't manage. And they're like, get the audio book, but while I'm making masks, my sewing machine is so loud that I can't hear it. So yeah, that being said, shout out to Christina.
Yeah.
She was really sweet this morning, and I was like, "Anybody have anything that you want to see on the show?" And she was like, "You're just so pretty," and I'm like, "Oh, how sweet!" But they're, it's more than that. It's about having people and what you can admire, and what you can say. Yeah, like, it's just someone to lift your spirits and make you smile, and she did that for me today. And so shout out to her, but shout out to everyone who is doing that for all of you listeners, in any way, because it's important that we stay connected in whichever way that we can. And that to me was just fun.
That's awesome. I'm not gonna insert that was your roses, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. Because I was like, I don't want to just jump and interrupt. I always feel bad about interrupting, jumping and cut people off too soon. With that being said, I have no idea how she's a mom of three and reading a book. She got little ones, right? Because she
Yeah.
was pregnant. Her children, some of them around the age of Nehemiah, one or two,
Yeah, she has her oldest is 6, her
right?
youngest I think is 2 now, and then 4. I have it in my notebook because I
Yeah.
was like, "How old are these kids?" And I forgot.
Also, I remember because she was pregnant at your wedding.
Yeah, so, okay, Zane is 6, I literally have it right here. Zane is 6, Barrett is 3, and Violet is 2.
So as a mother, first of all, Julie knows she's having a hard time trying to get to her book with just being busy, period, right? She's doing a phenomenal job even to this day. If when I check in, when I get the chance to check in on Julie, how you doing, friend, my back's hurting. Like, and she was even um, open and shared that on her social media that her back has been bothering her, but she's pushing through. So the woman's been at home hard at work, busy, donating her time, getting these masks out for people. So if I was there with you, big, 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 huge kisses on your cheeks and big hugs for that. Um, because you're really like, you're coming through big, right? So she's
Oh,
busy. Me being a mom of a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old and having a 1-year-old who's still not sleeping through the night still, um, I used to like to read fiction. I started to try to make myself read nonfiction, and it's tough at times. And I tell myself,
yeah,
okay, when I go to sleep, that's when I'm gonna do it, right? Previously to this COVID-19, when I was able to lay in bed and just fall right to sleep, that's what was happening. I didn't find the time when they went to sleep to read a book because I found myself also sleeping.
you were exhausted.
I will say though, during this time now, because um, I don't know, I've found some time now to actually read a book, and I did. I read a book
Nice.
last week.
What are you reading? Oh, wait, wait, I don't wanna ruin it, that's one of the
Okay,
parts of the next thing, but yeah, go,
no,
girl.
no, it's fine. I'll tell you now. It was called Children of Blood and Bone. Children of Blood and Bone. It was a fiction um, based in Africa, even though it didn't say that, but you knew it was because one of the cities was Lagos.
Okay,
Um, and it has to do with,
West Africa.
yes, so it had to do with like magic and everything. So it didn't say they were in Nigeria. It just like said like certain cities,
Okay.
um, named certain cities, and that was one of them. But it was really, really good. I got done with it. They were gonna make a movie out of it, but with everything going on right now, who knows? But it was a really, really
Mhm.
good book, and I got through
That's
it.
how you know it's a good book because everyone's like, "Look, we need to make a movie."
Yep, yep.
This is the perfect segue because listeners, today what we're doing is we are just sharing some tips and trips on how we're coping with COVID. I know that you're so tired of hearing about COVID, but we are here to be supportive. And honestly, we are always going to be real. We're going to be letting you know what we're living, and this is what we're living. So it's hard for us to be able to disconnect. So I hope that that's okay with you guys. Hope that you can take this and twist it into something positive. But we're going to talk about things that we've been doing to cope. And Chantel, I love that you brought up your book. What is it that really, so reading is one. What is it about this book that really got you back into reading?
So um, I have a couple samples. One of the things that I like, while I like holding on to physical books, right? One of the things that I liked um, about having digital books is you can read free samples, especially on
Mhm.
Google Play. So any book that I'm interested in, I don't just go and automatically buy it. I read the sample to see if
You're
this,
so responsible.
yeah, because I keep sending my money, my books are not finished.
Oh my gosh, if you could see my collection of
Well, listen,
unread
I have
books.
about 4 that I didn't finish that I bought um, right before I was pregnant, thought I was gonna get through them. I didn't get through them. So I have,
Yeah.
um, but it's a fiction. And I just think that the author told me, and don't remember her last name. I'm gonna have to look up at some point to share. She just really did a really good job of painting these characters and just making me interested. And I feel like it's a story that, while yes, it deals with like magic, so I couldn't like really read it to my son because I know magic isn't real, but he's 4 and impressionable. Um, this story hasn't been told before. It's something different, so it makes it fresh and new. Since it's something that I haven't heard, so I kept wanting to read it and read it and read it. And one of the things that was tough, Julie, like I told you, with all this false light, I only had the digital copy, friend.
Oh, see, that's hard.
So I had to, so days that I like really was like, oh, I really want to know what happened in this story. I was just like, oh my eyes, but I'm gonna read. So I made
Yeah.
night light was on like the laptop, if I read it on the laptop, or the night light was on my phone, so it would yellow the screen. But every time I read, I could always see what I was reading in my mind.
So
No,
it's an escape.
yeah.
And
Ex-
with things going on in the world that are so tough, sometimes it's really nice to escape, even if it is in, a dystopian sense. But also, I just think you start to notice that other people, because they're not all happy-go-lucky books, other people struggle too, and how they deal with it. So that being said, I have a book recommendation too. I'm actually it's the I'm actually reading this for the second time right now because it is so good, but that just means like randomly when I go to the bathroom and stuff. But this book is called The Nightingale and it's by Kristen Hanna, and it was our January book club selection that Darcy, one of my like best friends since we were little kids, this was her book lead. And when we first ordered the book, everybody was like, what? You got us the fattest book. We have to do this. Like, this is how we're starting book club. We were stressed. So I had gotten the audio book and the regular book because I like to read it, but then also if I was on the train and stuff at this time, I wanted to be able to still enjoy it. Well, this book is based in like 1940s Nazi occupied France, and it talks about what I never considered, and that is the countries that were occupied by the Nazis, not necessarily, during World War II, the Jewish perspective. And it's insane how much discord was all over the world, how much everybody suffered. And it basically follows two sisters and their lives through the war. And to me, well, it says on the front, an unforgettable portrait of love and war, and that's exactly what it is. They're doing a movie about this. It comes out on Christmas Day this year. So we might get together and watch it. But I would totally recommend this for anybody who just wants to really get lost in a book, like completely lost.
right
The
now.
Nightingale. I can give you my audio. Can I say this on there? I can give you my audio book. What's it called? Password. But yeah, this such a good book to the point where you guys, when people tell me the end of movies, the end of books, things like that, I don't like to even finish them because I get so annoyed. But I'm reading this again. It is that good. When it was over, I cried and cried. I laughed. Like there's pages where there's teardrops. Like it's
Friend, I wonder if we talked about this before because I have it on my wish list. I literally have, because there's a little thing at the top on Google with
I
the little
probably told you about it.
thing, the little
Yeah.
check mark. So, yep, you probably did tell me about it. It's on my list already.
When something impacts me that much, I like to share it with you and my closest friends. So that would make sense.
All right.
Such a great book.
Awesome. So, speaking of books, and just real quick, the book Children of Blood and Bone was Tomi Adeyemi. Adeyemi?
Okay. Can you spell that for us just so that we can look it up?
Yes. Tomi is her name, right? Tomi is Tomi. Last name is Adeyemi.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to do a book swap. Super excited.
I know. And Julie did invite me, and I was like, I thanked her for inviting me. I didn't join it because I knew at the time I'm not gonna be able to get through these books. So maybe once I feel like I get to a point, you know what, I'm getting back to the swing of it. I'm reading books. Maybe I'll see if I'm still gonna be able to join the little book club.
Yeah, no, you totally can. For example, the book club meeting that's taking place today, we're doing it on FaceTime, you guys. I'm on page 7 of that book right now because and this is this is my fault because we had the first book of the year. And then I was like, oh my God, I finished it so early because we get 2 months to finish each book because
Okay.
there's a month and then every other month we meet. So it's like plenty of time. But I decided I was going to read 5 other books in the middle. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get to that. I got time. And then COVID happened. So the last month, which I had in my head dedicated to reading the book that is for this week, which is Tell No One by Harlan Coben. I completely lost that. But then I read all these books already this year. And I'm like, you're supposed to read this one.
That sounds like your friend. You're all studious and stuff, and then like, I got time. Oh, but this was really good. Let me just read it.
Yeah. That being said, I have a couple more suggestions for books during the pandemic. Excuse me as I get all up in your face, because I set them aside specifically here behind my computer. Initially because I was hoping to do a YouTube video about them, but we're gonna do it here.
Okay.
So, the first is actually 2 books, and it's called Girl Wash Your Face and Girl Stop Apologizing. This one came out first, both the same author. She's a blogger, turned author, mother, like really amazing individual. She wrote these books about basically believing in yourself because the lies that you tell yourself are, who you become. So that's Girl Wash Your Face. And then Girl Stop Apologizing is just like embracing your achievements, embracing yourself. We apologize for everything. And I caught myself after reading this saying sorry for everything. It's not even that big a deal. But these are 2 really fast reads. Like I think like 1 day, 2 days. They're easy to just like knock out. But they're nice and they're easy, and she shares her story in a way that makes you really feel like you can do anything because she could do anything, and she seems like the everyday people. Shout out to Britt Carpenter. Yeah, really, really good books. So those are those. And you can stop me if you have
I'm listening. What else you got? What else you got?
The book for this month in book club was Tell No One by Harlan Coben. It's a mystery. Everybody in the book club is raving about this. I can't tell you how I feel about it yet because I'm on page 7, but everyone is like, oh my God. They said once you get past page 70, you literally cannot put the book down. Like you have to finish it that day. Like it's
Okay, look, see, I'm saving Tell No One.
yes, by Harlan Coben.
It keeps suggesting audiobooks. Like I like them and all, but I want to sample. I want to hold on to the actual copy. There we go. Got it.
Okay, next on the list. Oh my gosh, this book. I don't want to say anything about this book because it's so good. Where the Crawdads Sing. There is an audiobook version.
Like the sunrise color, peachish, pinkish. I like just like that color.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's and sometimes it's for me, Julia says don't judge a book by its cover because I'm like, oh my God, that cover's so cute. I want that one. Because for specifically Tell No One, this one came in like 15 different covers. Like I was like, no, I want that orange one. I don't have anything orange. Where the Crawdads Sing was on Reese Witherspoon's book club list, and turned out to be really, really good. And then this book, my final suggestion for today's COVID relief, is called Mrs. Osmond, and it's a book by John Banville. It's a novel. He was the winner of something called the Man Booker Prize. I don't know, but I know that he is like such a great writer. The way that he writes is very, I don't know, almost formal in a way that you imagine his voice to be like British. But this book is part of a series in which Madame Merle, basically her and her husband, they had some drama, then she left and came back, and I really can't tell you too much because I'm not great at describing books without giving my favorite parts away. But yeah, Mrs. You know what's crazy about this book? I got it in January when I went to the public library with my sister-in-law in Jersey, and I paid $2 for this book. It's a first edition and it's signed.
Wow.
I paid $2. Is that not insane?
That's really good. Look at that. Library finds. Let me
Hype.
find out.
$2. She got a bunch for like 50 cents and stuff. So you don't have to overpay, like you can go to the libraries, you can go on Amazon, you can do whatever it is that you need to do to save money. But there's some options in case you're looking for a good read during the pandemic.
Yes. Side note, and then I wanted to segue into something that had to do with books. So one of the reasons why I also stopped reading some books was because anybody who knows us knows that my son can read, right? Um, I
Yeah,
bought these books. When I bought these books, he was 3 because I was pregnant with Eliana. He was 3 going on 4. And he would be in the bed with me over my shoulder wanting to read. Some of the books had adult language in them. Not that it's like, I didn't know at the time. But I got them and I'm reading them. And then I hear him trying to read. I'm like, oh, I can't read this right now. Okay. And he insisted on trying to read. So I'm like, okay, let's read this one. Oh, no, I can't read that. So that's kind of that's really honestly what slowed me down because I couldn't really read them around him. And then I had the baby and then I was just like, all right, I'll get back to it when I can. But I wanted to share something without sharing everything. Julie had asked me what I thought about that saying that was going around the internet. If you don't come out of this a better you with like a degree or learning something new, then you wasted your time. And while, she said she understood, she also felt do whatever you have to do. And I was in total agreement, do whatever you have to do to keep your sanity during this time. Like you don't have to run yourself ragged learning something new. If you want to take this break right now just to chill and breathe, do that, right? However, I told Julie about a year ago, had an idea for a book myself. And all I did a year ago was literally write notes about this. And then I wrote the first paragraph and then never went back to it. So during this pandemic time, I was like, let me go see what my notes said. Let me go see what this first paragraph said. And I talked to my sister about it. She gave me some really, really good pointers and tips. Shout out to you, Devin, because she remembers a lot of things from her creative writing class, her senior year of high school. She said,
wow.
And she said the same thing that I was doing. She said, this is good, but certain things that you're doing, she was doing. Like she said, I want to see it. Don't just tell me, I want to see it. And she said that was her issue as well. So I started Googling how to write a novel, what to do, and storyboarding, writing out your outline. So on my list, I literally wrote a list of things to do. And list number 1 is to completely write out the characters, see them and write them out. So who knows what's going to happen? I don't know how long it's going to take me. Sometimes books can take a really long time to finish, taking a few years. So who knows what's going to come out of this thing? Maybe I'll just have my characters completed by the time we're able to finally go outside. But yeah,
that's amazing. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Don't get me started because once you tell me that you have a goal, I'm like, where's the chapter at? Like,
and Julie will, and my sister, the two of you are like the same with that. And, we talk about support systems so much and how they're important. That's one of the themes of our show and our conversations. And I'm just thankful for my sister. I'm thankful for my parents. My parents are supportive. But as far as people that I tell everything to, I'm thankful for my sister and for Julie. You guys are both the same in the aspect of whatever you want to do, you can do.
That's so sweet. She has one sister, so for me to be there with her, it's just like, I'm hype.
Well, just to let everybody know too, let me see, 2018, I went and worked with Julie at an organization. And Julie had told me that she took over my sister being her sister. She was like, you ain't know, but I talked to my sister more than you do. And she was I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I love Devin. She really, like, you guys vibe. She's a vibe, a whole vibe. And you should see her kid. Oh, well, I think her Instagram might be private.
That's a good question if it is now or not. Because I know back then she was posting a lot.
Yeah, because she was getting the ketones up.
Yes, and being very motivational. And then she did a phone update and it messed everything up and it kept her off of the Instagrams and the Facebooks because her camera wasn't working. So that kind of slowed down her momentum. However,
shout out to Devin. If she's not private, let's see if we could give her a little shout out. If she's private, then you won't see nothing. If she isn't, Then go follow Devin, which is, hold on,
Change.
day by day with Dev underscore. DAYBYDAYWITHTEV underscore.
They call me US. Sorry.
I love what she posts. She always posts really great stuff. Speaking of people who post really great stuff and how to keep yourself entertained during COVID, um, I I understand that social media can be, double-edged sword, but let's all admit we've been on social media a lot more than usual. In fact, I saw a post that said that Apple should cancel the screen time notifications during COVID because it's true we've been having lots of screen time. But I also wanted to shout out my sister-in-law, and her name is Saudi. Saudi has I don't know how she has this abundance of what seems like energy. I know
Oh
she's
my gosh.
tired. It's just insane. Her Instagram is called The Busy Mom Life, and that is what her life is, the busy mom life. She has 2 children, one 3 months, one about to be 5, and you guys,
She just had a
she huh? Yeah, she just had a baby. Yeah, and she does the coolest things with them. Like, I always tell her she needs to adopt me. They had an Easter egg ding dong ditch. So they put Easter baskets on their cousin's porch, rang the doorbell, and ran, to practice social distancing. So she's found ways to really immerse herself during this pandemic. She's very crafty and things. So follow her too. It's really interesting to follow her.
Yeah, definitely. Um, which reminds me, I gotta something else. Anyway, something else that I am doing, I'm gonna start. So last year I did my first tomato container plant. I only got literally like 2 tomatoes out of it. If I had more, I would have shared with you, Julie, but I didn't really get that many. So I feel like and when I talked to my cousin who's been doing this for a few years, he said last year was rough just because of the heat. Um,
You
which
did say that.
yeah, I see, remember. And it gave me some encouragement to let me know it wasn't just me. It was the weather that also did not give us a good yield last summer with these tomato plants. With all of that being said, I told myself I'm going to try again next year, which is coming up now. I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't going to give up because I do feel like, yes, while we should keep our farmers in business, obviously, and get our fruits and vegetables, it's also a really good thing if you can do it yourself.
Right.
You know what fertilizers, all that stuff is going into your soil. You know what's going into the fruits and vegetables that you're growing. And then it just helps teaches you to be resourceful and to be self-sufficient. And another reason why I'm very adamant about doing that now is because we don't know what tomorrow is going to hold, right? And I don't want to cause, again, some big panic. That's not what this is. Um, but this is since we do not know what tomorrow holds, maybe we should learn how to be a little bit more self sufficient and not having to rely on going out to get things from the grocery store. One, it limits our exposure to potentially catching this, which we're praying we never do. And then you get really fresh fruits and vegetables sitting outside of your doorstep if you have to do containers like I will have to because I don't have a lot of yard space. So that's another thing I'm getting ready to do. We were out last night, not out on the town, y'all. We just went to pick up some food. We ordered takeout. And Lowe's was in the area. So I literally drove past and saw all of their fruits and vegetable plants. I was like, I will be back. So
Oh, I'm excited.
yeah.
That's really great, and I like this idea of being self-sufficient. So, I don't know why, and we mention this all the time, in our Walking Dead apocalypse house, so who would have what job,
Yeah.
but, I already knew that Chantel would be in charge of food and stuff because she makes sure that her family always, like, eats really well, thinks about what's in the food, thinks about, the container, things that sometimes, we just completely dismiss, like, this water tastes funny. If you say that all water tastes the same, then you don't drink enough water. You
Exactly.
just don't, because all water does not taste the same. And so I finally found somebody who is my equal in understanding these things. And so I would say in our Walking Dead apocalypse house or whatever, Chantel would take care of the food. And now that I'm learning how to sew, maybe I can make the clothes,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Um, we gotta figure out what these men are gonna do, but it's fun.
Clothes. If we get tired of looking at the same furniture, you can like reupholster things. What else? Curtains and the drapes. Like that's all you, friend. You got all that down packed.
Well, not down packed, but we'll get there. We're gonna
Yeah.
get there. So that's one of my goals. I love that you set a goal in terms of your book, and I'm really excited to hear more about it. And I would love for the listeners to be able to go along in your process and everything. Like this is gonna be dope. And so my goal has been to learn how to sew more. Just I've been making a bunch of masks, and I realize it's pretty much like a straight stitch type thing, but I think it'd be really cool to be able to dress myself and make clothes, and it's not necessarily as easy as people would think it is. And so I want to learn how to do that. And I want to spend time, making myself a couple garments and then maybe other people. Because right now I customize and embellish certain garments with embroidery or things like that. But I would like to start to finish make clothes.
That's gonna be awesome. So the
Thank
next time we do our live, and right in the back of, I'm over here pointing, but right over Julie's, yes, that shoulder, there's gonna be a mannequin right underneath that April where it doesn't have the head, it's like just the bust, like we're and she's gonna have like fabrics and stuff that's showing. I'm excited. I can't
That
wait.
would be really cool. That
Yeah.
would be really cool. Um, Not sure that's gonna happen anytime soon because in COVID, I dedicate pretty much all my hours to making masks, but uh I wanna do that. I wanna get
Yeah. So what has the current where we are now with this pandemic and this situation, have you learned anything new about yourself?
about myself. Yes, actually. Okay, so I was talking to someone about this yesterday. I always knew that I had an empathetic nature. I didn't realize I was a full-blown empath. I I feel so much of what other people feel. Like I can't have somebody tell me a bad story. Um I can't tell you how much it affects me when other people are suffering.
Yeah.
I knew that that was something that, I could feel a lot, but during this pandemic, I have been so emotionally drained because it is like next level empath, and I'm gonna have to learn how to manage that. But I didn't know that about myself to the degree at which I've learned. How about you?
I have learned that even when a situation looks bleak, that I can adjust.
Mhm.
And I'm always forward thinking. And I think we've talked about this before in the past to where I think Julie's a little bit like me. We think a lot, right? There might be times where she's not having a hard time sleeping now, but I think we've had conversations. If Julie ever has a sleepless night, it's because her mind's running. It's the same,
Yeah,
right?
and it's super like it's gotta be running a lot because I'll
Right.
be tired.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so for me, I think about a lot of different scenarios. I think about a lot of different things. And I don't want to fully share them on here because then it's going to seem like, oh, I'm an anxious person. That's not really it. I just like to think ahead to, okay, if this were to happen, how would I?
Might just be on my end, but it looks like we've got a little bit of freezing going on.
Them?
There we
But,
go.
oh man, was my internet unstable?
A little bit, yeah. Can you go back? It might just be on my end, but
Nope, it's telling me right now your internet connection is unstable. So it was me. Um,
so the last thing I heard was it might just be on my end, but
okay. So when I think about scenarios, I think about how would I handle it? Um, and while you'll never know, I don't think you'll ever know how you handle the situation until you're actually placed in it. And some of the scenarios I think about, I hope I never have to face or deal with, but I like to think ahead and plan ahead.
mhm.
And that has actually taught me that while Julie knows Julie's more of a planner than I am, but I also like to know what the plan is. Like to where I might not write everything out in a journal, which I was going to buy one in the beginning of this year. I'm so glad I didn't. I've been using my phone. But um, it taught me that, I am a planner. I think ahead. And I think if people will maybe be a little bit more thought cautious of what they're doing, they won't do things like Julie said, and I'm going completely to a different thing, like just pulling their masks off their face. I think if you're always thinking, okay, What do I do now with my hands? Keep your hands away from your face. Like that's just things that always run through my mind. So I think a lot, and I just want to know what my next steps are.
Yeah. And I like that. I think a lot of times people can be thoughtless in terms of just things that feel mundane,
Mhm.
everyday life, but we're in a position where even the mundane is a trial. This is a pandemic. And so yeah, I like that to be thoughtful.
Yeah. So anything new since the last time we talked that you're doing to make yourself feel better besides book reading?
Yes. So, speaking of thoughtfulness, I think it's really important to love on your loved ones and those who are important to you during this time. And so, um, it's not near me right now, but I have been missing that connection with my friends and such. And so, um, I have been working on my free time on little care packages for my friends. And I just want to give them a piece of me so that it'll have like pictures of things in magazines that I think are cool. Pretty much, I've been making like a whole bunch of little things that represent us, or like giving them a piece of me in some type of way. And so I wanted to bring back the snail mail revolution. And so that makes me feel good, making sure that other people feel loved, and not necessarily gift giving. Well, gift giving is fun, but that's not necessarily my love language. But the fact that someone feels thought of is that idea of thoughtfulness. So that makes me feel better. What also makes me feel better is knowing that I'm doing something to help, which is why I've dedicated 100 hours in the last 24 days to making masks. So whatever it is that you find your biggest weaknesses, and I hate to say weakness because sometimes it could be a strength, but for me right now, it's that like severe empathy that can be sometimes debilitating. Um, I try to counter it in some ways. So, I'm worried about this person in this way, so let me help them in a way that will minimize that.
Yeah, that's so nice. And we were like, if anybody watched Bert's show, Be a Voice this past week, we were on it. I got emotional towards the end, and I find myself being there now again. And I just want to say to anybody who is at the verge, is on the verge of tears, just let it out. Get a good cry out, and then move on, right, in the best way that you can during this time, whatever that looks like. Um, One thing that I thought about here, and it's all going to tie in. I feel like we were doing laundry too much in my house. I'm like, we're not going anywhere. Why are we always having to wash clothes? Why are we only wearing the clothes one day and putting it in the dirty clothes? Like I told my son the other day, because he wore shorts for one day, Mom, I wore those yesterday. It's fine. We didn't go outside because the weather is too nasty. Wear them again today. Um, and I'm saying that all to say, even though for my house, we're not really getting dressed up so we can wear certain clothes the next day. If you feel you got to get dressed up, if you feel you got to do your makeup and you got to go around your house and just put on a show for you and yourself or whoever's in your house with you, do it. Do whatever is making you feel good about you right now. A coworker of mine, a colleague of mine, we were in a Zoom meeting this past week, and her birthday is today, and mine is coming up in a couple days. And she sent me a private message during the Zoom and was just like, happy birthday, question mark. I don't remember if it's like last week or coming up. I said, no, I gave her the date. And I said, happy birthday to you too, belated.
Also, you're not trying to give the listeners the date?
It's next Tuesday, the 21st, I think. It's the 21st. Taurus. Anyway, so
Taurus. My husband's a Taurus. That's why I'm making that face.
yeah, as much as Julie and I see a lot of things eye to eye, Julio and I can be the same as far as like bullheaded and stubborn. So I also understand him in that aspect. Um, so she said, I want to get dressed up. She messaged me back and said, I want to get dressed up, but I have nowhere to go. I was like, you know what? Get dressed up in your house. Do whatever you need to do to make you feel happy. So if you want to go and put on your best birthday outfit and take pictures around your house, do it. Do whatever makes you feel good. Who says that you have to follow certain rules of, well, I'm not going nowhere? Who cares?
Right.
Put out your best on your table for you and your family, or even if it's just you, put out your china, whatever, and enjoy yourself while you're home. Do what makes you feel good. And
Yeah.
let's smile and try to get through this the best that we can, because it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah.
Really tough.
I love that. I think celebrating every day, and that was initially what the Viera Vida blog was about is, making the most of every single day. And so I say this all the time, but I am generally always by myself at home anyway because of not being able to drive with my condition and things. And so people are always like, "Oh, you have such a fancy life. You're always getting dressed up for this or having fancy." No, we just decide that that's going to happen on that day. Like we decide we're going to get dressed. You have to make that decision. To hold yourself accountable. If you're wondering why you feel in a funk, okay, well, what have you done to combat that? And yeah, sometimes it's going to be hard, but you need to just like in different parables, you need to make sure that you're hopping on the boat if you're seeking help and you're wondering why you're drowning. Hop in, do your part. Don't just like pretend like everything's just going to solve itself. So I think that was really good advice, and I think it's also important to have a little tough love where we're like, hold yourself accountable, do what you can, and then you know you might feel a little bit better.
Yes, very true. I miss you so much.
I miss you too. You guys, look, Paris is here. Paris, hi.
Aw, how are you?
Oh, I've been loving these cats. You guys, I was not a cat person. I was not. I had so many bad memories because I'm allergic to cats. My mom was allergic to cats, and we used to have hospital runs when we were around cats. My cats are now hyperallergenic. Sorry about the butt. And I'm in love with them. They keep me so much company. There's so much personality. So if you see them running around, that's what's going on. They're
Yeah,
just living.
yeah. There was something else I was gonna say too. I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Check out if you guys are listening on the radio, you probably can't see Chantel's thinking face. It's really funny.
Yeah. Oh, so did you get a chance to listen to the song I talked about on Be a Voice? I might as well mention it on here too for our listeners on here. Anthony
I
Ramos.
actually didn't.
And my sister sent that to me like weeks ago, like at the beginning of all this COVID-19 stuff, because something I was going through emotionally. And she was like, "You need to listen to this." And she would ask me every day, "Did you listen to the song? Just the song, listen to the song." And I was like, "No, I've never listened to it." Anthony Ramos, "Cry Today, Smile Tomorrow." And the video on his page, it's a lyric video, so you can read along if, sometimes it's easier for people to like really hear what the song is saying. Beautiful song. It helps to remind you that you're perfect. Like literally he says, "I'm perfectly imperfect." Like I'm gonna cry today, smile tomorrow. Right? Get it
Okay.
out. And that's all I was saying. Get out the cry. I had to do that yesterday, I think. Yesterday, 2 days ago. Really,
Get
cried
that
my
cry out.
yeah, got it out. And then I was able to move on with what I had to move with. We are humans. We have feelings, we have emotions. I think Julie has said it before too. It's okay to feel sad about that missed or canceled trip. It's okay. Like we're human beings, you know?
So I just pulled the song up. Maybe we can play a little piece of it. Hopefully you guys can hear this well, but um, here we go. I'm emotional just with the piano.
I've got problems, and I'll be the first to call them out. And I get lonely, 'cause lately friends don't stick around. But I keep my hopes up, 'cause that's the one thing I can control. I don't fill my mind with petty lies, I let that go. Don't fill my mind with petty lies, let that go.
Control what you can.
All the troubles in my life won't bring me down. All the struggles in my life, they teach me how I'm perfectly imperfect.
Mm.
And when it hurts, I just remember there's a purpose. So I'll cry today, smile tomorrow. Cry today, smile tomorrow. In those nights when I'm all alone.
I wanted to just listen to a part, but I'm stuck, you guys. Just take it in.
Sit in silence on the sidelines as the world moves on. With puzzle pieces in my palms, wondering what the hell I did wrong. Oh, the troubles in my life won't bring me down. Oh, the struggles in my life, they teach me how. Teach me how. I'm perfectly imperfect. And when it hurts, I just remember there's a purpose. So I'll cry today, smile tomorrow. Cry today, and smile for all of those walls I've broken.
All right, you guys, that was good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to listen to this.
Listen, I was over here. I'm literally like holding on to tears because it's so. I think you released that last year, I think, but it's so relevant for even.
Yeah. Speaking of song suggestions, there's a song that came out yesterday. I think it's so funny, the timing. I wonder if it's on this Apple Music because it only came out yesterday. How God works. So this person, Jason Mraz is the artist. He wrote this single called "Look for the Good," and when you're thinking about how much time it takes to make an album, this album is called "Look for the Good," and it's so relevant right now. Like a year ago,
Right.
he started preparing for this. So there's a song, and yeah, I just found it, so I'm gonna play it for you guys because I think this is so important in this time to look for the good, that silver lining that we're always talking about. Even Anthony Ramos in that song, he said, control what you can, control your thoughts and things like that. So it's a little bit more upbeat, and it's, I think, keeping me going. So let's hear it.
Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. People done gone crazy. People done gone mad. People done forgot the superpowers we all had. We were born to love, not hate. We can decide our fate and look for the good in everyone and celebrate our love mistakes if there's a silver lining. You still have to find it, find it, find it. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Everyone needs sunshine. Everyone needs rain. Everyone is carrying around some kind of pain. I see who you are, just like me. I see you're searching for a purpose, guided by a dream. I see who you are,
Just like me.
just like you. I get lost sometimes and I forget what I came here to do. I keep on trying, when it gets bright. Look for the good in
Yeah, Jason Mraz is a vibe. If you don't listen to Jason Mraz, you need to. All of his music is really great, generally super positive, love, and he just has a real talent for lyrics, and he's amazing. So Jason Mraz. That being said, there is the reason why I knew that song before it came out yesterday is because Jason Mraz and a lot of artists are doing live streams and online concerts and such. Jason Mraz is doing the La 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 live streams, and so he previewed that song, and he has challenged people to hashtag look for the good when they're finding something, a silver lining or something good in a picture, things like that on Instagram. So I challenge you guys to participate in that. But yeah, those songs are good motivation. The books are good motivation. Whatever it is that you can find, you know, in your home, I think it's worth it. It's worth a try. We're responsible for our own happiness.
Very true. I think that's the tagline of today's episode.
Yeah,
During this time, we are responsible for our own happiness. So find what makes you happy.
that's
Definitely.
so real. And you know what? Like there's so much you can do, but if you're having trouble with that, go ahead and seek advice. You know, ask us, ask anybody who's close to you, because life is wonderful, and even if we're in a time of pandemic, there's so much that we can do to just be responsible for our own thoughts.
Yes. And friend, last thing I wanted to share this. This is different. So I don't know if you've been doing anything to maybe detox your body from certain things. And I just want to say, if anybody has a real addiction to something, I don't know if this is the best time to detox if you're going to crash, just because we can't really see our doctors right now. However, I tried the whole coconut oil thing for 2 days, and well, no, for like 3 or 4, and it only really worked for me well 2 days. And what I'm saying is, I used coconut oil only on my underarms, trying to get away from the deodorants to, like, a little natural. It only worked for me for 2 days, so I've been back. But I tried. I
Okay.
tried going. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if that will work for me.
it did it. Because I talked to you about like the exfoliating. We talked
Yeah.
about it before in the past on like shows in the past, and I tried it. And the first day I was like, wow, like this is good. I can, coconut oil, natural, whatever. Next day, about halfway through, I was like, Now, to tell you the truth, the smell wasn't like, how somebody has forgotten deodorant, if you forgot deodorant, you're like, oh my gosh. Like it wasn't that bad because I think I
Okay.
exfoliated and stayed away. But it was enough to be like, no, you
No, we're not doing this.
going outside like this.
That's a good tip, you guys. So if you want to try anything new now, now's the time to do it. New haircut, cut my own bangs this morning. You're using coconut oil in your underpits. Like, do what you got to do now that we're at home. There's a lot we can get away with. I thought about putting a purple streak in my hair. Like, do what you got to do. I'm not doing it. But I just think that's really good advice. So I'm really glad that we had this show today, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. You guys look for the good. You're responsible for your own happiness. um Thank you. I want to leave you guys, end this episode with a song that I think is really beautiful and will help you to remember that life is wonderful, also by Jason Mraz. So love you, Chantel.
Here's to the ones with the some. Is it that one?
Oh no, that one's good too. This is called Life is Wonderful.
Love you too.
A crane. It takes 2 floors to make a story. It takes an egg to make a hen. It takes a hen to make an egg. There is no end to what I'm saying.
So life has good and bad, we need a
It takes
balance.
a thought to make a word. And it takes some words to make an action. And it takes some work to make it work. It takes some good to make it hurt. It takes some bad for satisfaction. La 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 la, life is wonderful. La 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 la, life goes full circle. La 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 la, life is wonderful. La 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 la. It takes a night to make it dawn. And it takes a day to make you yawn, brother. And it takes some old to make you young. It takes some cold to know the sun. It takes the one to have the other. And it takes no time to fall in love. But it takes you years to know what love is. And it takes some fears to make you trust. It takes those tears to make it rust. It takes the dust to have it polished.
You guys, remember the yin and yang, remember the good and the bad, remember you're responsible for your happiness. Thanks for being here with us. We will be back next Saturday with a new episode of Viera Vida. Love you guys. Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you for being a friend.